Welcome back, everybody. Can we do a short raise of hands? Who of you is familiar with the project DevFile? Yeah, we got some people. Who of you is familiar with Podman? I need to take a picture of this. If you're familiar with these projects, you probably know our next speaker. He's like one of these software engineering demigods out there. He's working with Red Hat as for now. His title is Senior Principal Software Engineer, which is, I think, like the most godlike thing you can become in software engineering. He's a former CNCF ambassador, former tech lead for the J project of the Eclipse Foundation, the co-creator of DevFile, and currently working on Podman. Please give me a hand for Mario Loriedo.
Thank you very much for the great introduction. And yeah, it's a great venue, so I'm gonna take a selfie that it doesn't happen often to be in a cinema like that. I will show it to my daughters. Say hi, hello. All right. So today we're gonna talk about Kubectl Debug and IDEs running in Kubernetes. So let's go to the agenda. So these are like the three things that I'm going to, three topics, main topics of the talk. Debugging pods. So what are the usual flow when you want to debug a pod? Cloud development environments. What are they? And I'm gonna do a short demo about that, and then an extension for Kubectl. But before that, the first thing we need to clarify here is how do you spell that? Because so yeah, who called it Kubectl? A lot of people. Kubectl and Kubectl. All right. So I'm an Italian. I live in France, in Paris. I'm here visiting in Austria. I'm kind of, I don't know how to call things. So what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna just call it K, so that for no confusion. So all the slides, when you see K, actually is Kubectl or Kubectl, or how do you call it? But I will use just K. All right. Okay. So the first part is about debugging pods. So this is something that probably has happened to most of you. Like, is a kind of a retool because we kind of do that a lot of time. The first thing you do is that you do a K apply, so you deploy a pod, a deployment, whatever, and you're happy about that. So, but after some seconds, you kind of get a little bit worried, and you do a get pod just to make sure that things are working, and it's not started yet, it's not ready, so you get even more nervous, and you say, okay, we need to go deeper here. Let's use describe. So describe gives you more information. You may not find exactly what's going on. That's often the case. So you get the JSON. So you do a get pod with the JSON output. So you get all the fields, etc. You can inspect them, and then maybe you pipe that to JQ, etc. You don't find the problem yet, and it's not ready yet. So let's look at the events. Maybe there is something there. And nothing there. So okay, let's have a look at the logs. There are no logs. Strange. All right, what do you do next? You may do a kexec, right? So you get a shell, etc. But then maybe bash or the shell is not even there, the executable. So and then you want to control. You want to see if the what's the status of the process, etc. So the last thing you can do is you can actually when you're really frustrated, you can use kdebug. This is a kind of recent command that has been added. And what actually Kdebug does is that it works into, there are two modes of Kdebug. The first one is making a copy of the target pod. So it makes a copy and it adds a container inside the pod. And this container is the debugging container, and you can get a shell in it. And you actually, so with the command, you can specify what the image of the for the debug container. And then you can also share process. This is kind of cool, so that you can see the processes that are running in the other containers. The second way is through ephemeral containers. So you don't do a copy, it just starts an ephemeral container inside the target pod. And so with that, you're actually able to see the actual pod and to get inside and to see what's going on with the debugging tool. So usually you craft your image so that you have the tools that you need in the debugging image for debugging purposes. So I'm gonna do a short demo about that. So yeah, just quick explanation about it. So I'm gonna just deploy a pod. So I've already connected to a Kubernetes cluster. I'm gonna do a kubectl apply, and then I will check that actually the pod is started, and I will then call this debug in the copy mode. So it will actually create a second pod, and I will open a shell in this second pod. So okay, apply f. Okay. Okay, so that created. So it's a small application here. Maybe somebody knows about that. So it's an application. It's a simple Go web app that checks if a version of Go has been released yet or not, and I can get the route to that. I can just. All right, so it says that 1.23 is not out, and that's kind of problematic because 1.23 is out, so there is a problem with my application. I don't know exactly what it is, so let's say that we want to debug it. So I'm gonna just do the. So this is the command that I want to run. So I'm using this image that is actually my custom image with for debugging. So I have some Go tooling, etc. inside. So let's do that. One thing that I can do before actually is that I can check the pods here, and there is just my my original pod, the target pod. So now if I run that, it will actually start a new pod with, there will be 2 containers, and I can check that. So if I open another shell, you can see that there is a second pod that has been created, and this second pod has 2 containers, and the second container is the container for debugging. So let me just, what can we do here? For example, one thing that we can do is that we can check the processes and see if I see. And actually, I see my out yet application. Even if it's running in another container, I can see it. So I can do other things. So I have some tooling, like I should have Git here. I have Go. So I can do some debugging. But actually, that's not super super user friendly, right? And that's because Yeah, usually when you're debugging, you're debugging. So at least what I'm used to is using an IDE, right? And I don't have an IDE here, so I have just command line tools. I have a command line, so I can probably open some code, try stuff, etc. But yeah, things are kind of different. So it's difficult. So yeah, it's kubectl. So it really lacks an IDE or something, a tool that allows me to open with an IDE locally or with the browser. So this is something that can be done with cloud development environments, right? So cloud development environments are, it's a growing market. So this is something that a table that I took from the Pragmatic Engineer, great newsletter, by the way, where there are all the products for cloud development environment that have been released. So everybody is kind of playing in that space. So you can see that. So probably the most popular one is GitHub Codespaces. And also Gitpod is really popular, but also GitLab or Google as their offer it there. And we, so I mean, we, when I say we, is Red Hat. We have our offer as well with GitHub Codespaces. So with Red Hat Spaces. And how it works is that so when you start, you start a, so it starts, so those services start a pod with a few containers and with development tools, including the IDE, at least the IDE server, and you can connect through the browser or with the client. So for example, you can connect with your local VS Code, you can connect to the pod, or with your local JetBrains IDE, you can connect to the pod. So that allows you to make reproducible development environment. But even more important, you can offload some workloads. So like, for example, for AI models, etc. You can run them on some Kubernetes node where you may have GPUs or more powerful machines. And so we connect with your client to that environment where you can augment your laptops because you have more resources. So that's why it's getting more and more traction lately. So one of the projects that I've been working on in the last few years is the DevWorkspace Kubernetes operator. So it's Kubernetes operator, so it means that it adds some custom resource definition in Kubernetes. It's a custom resource definition that allows you to specify a development environment. So it's the thing that you see at the left. So with this YAML, then if you apply it on the cluster where the operator is running, the controller will then create the pods, do a git clone of the project, and you will just, in a few seconds, you will have access through VS Code or a JetBrains IDE to the source code, and you will be able to debug, etc. So this is my second demo. So I will close this one. So we'll close the debug one at least. Okay. So here I have this YAML with a definition of a DevWorkspace, and actually I have a new resource. So since I have my my operator that is already installed in this cluster, I can do get DevWorkspace that you can, the alias is DW, and there is no DevWorkspace yet in my namespace right now. So I will do a kube apply of out yet DevWorkspace YAML. Okay. And then, so the other thing so after I do that, I can do a get of the DevWorkspace and wait to see the status. It's kind of, yeah. Okay, so it's already running, so fantastic. So if I look at the pods now, you can see that, so there is my out yet pod, so my application pod, and now there is another pod. I don't need the out yet, really, pod right now, so I can also kill it, because otherwise it can be confusing. So okay, so I only have my DevWorkspace here pod. And so there is this link here, so I should be able to open it. So let me try to go full screen. Okay. So yeah, I just click on the link, and as you can see, it's Visual Studio Code. It's like if you just install Visual Studio Code and it's running in my browser. So the client part is running in the browser. Then there is a server part that is running in the pod. Let's open the Go file. So when I open the Go file, then there is actually the Go extension that is automatically installed. That's because it's among the recommended extension, and recommended extension get installed automatically. So it's kind of start the language server. So everything that allows us to do code completion, debugging, etc., is getting started. So it's just started. And so I can have a look at the code, and I can also open a terminal here. And in the terminal, since I'm already in the cluster, so remember that the VS Code is running in the pod. So here I can do get pod, and I should be able to see the pods in the namespace where I'm running. So it's kind of super useful because you are already here. So you can already you are already connected to the cluster. So the thing that I wanted to show is like debugging here, because that's what we were talking about. So we have seen with Kdebug that is possible to debug, but the user experience is not fantastic. So here, instead, you actually have a real IDE. You can click on a button to start the debugger, and that's what I've done. So I've selected, I've multiple profiles here for debugging, waiting that. So now it's compiling the application and it's running it, and then it's gonna attach the debugger is going to attach to that, and yeah, it's automatically sees that the application is started, and it proposed me to open it in a new tab. So this is I've just started in debug mode the application in my workspace, in my development environment. And the other cool thing is that something that we could not do before is that yeah, you can actually put like breakpoints. So I put a breakpoint here is something that is looking often, and you can see. So it's like this method is so the application is checking for a URL every few seconds. So I put a breakpoint, and it just gets stopped here because it was executing this this method, that this function that is actually checking if a version of Go has been released or not. And to do that, just to analyze a little bit, to do some debugging work, I can see that there is a local variable that is using for checking if Go is here. That is not actually a good one. So this is the problem of my application, and so I can see that it actually was missing just the minor version here, the 0 of the patch version actually. So that's I think that's about it. So you get it. You actually get a full IDE in Kubernetes using an operator. So this is super cool. But yet, so I would like to kind of have something that does both things. Like the idea that working on cloud development environment and with Kubernetes a lot. So I was thinking, but yeah, it should be really be possible to run an IDE when I run Kdebug. So this is what actually I've started testing, and to do that we need to extend kubectl, right? Kubectl extensions are kind of really simple, and powerful. If you are not familiar with that, so in the left here, I have just the few lines that you need to install an extension. So to create an extension, so a plugin. So the first lines with the echo here are creating the kubectl-lo file with just an echo hello vn, and then I just make sure that it's executable, and I move it to a path, so a folder that is in the path, right? So once I've done that, then if I run k plugin list, I can see that kubectl already see it amongst the plugin. So it just find out that it's there. And the way it's actually, the naming convention is the important thing here. So it should be kubectl-something. And that something will be a new command for kubectl. And then I can do, since it's the name of my plugin, so the name of the file was kubectl-hello, I can then run k-hello, and it will show me it will run the script. So it's super simple, but what we want to do, so starting an IDE is kind of a little bit more complicated. So, but the idea is I want a new command, so a plugin that allows me to do Kdebug IDE. And this is what I've currently implemented with, I actually just taken a really good example that if you look at how to create plugins, there is a repository with an example of a plugin to do that, and it already has all the methods for parsing the flags, etc., seeing the usage, etc. So this is, and probably is not, I don't know if you can see it, but actually here, the command, the example that I have is kubectl debug IDE, so and with kind of the same format as the kubectl debug. So you put the pod name as the first argument, first parameter, and then you specify the image. And in this case, you specify also a Git repository, because it's important to specify a Git repository in this case, because you want to download, to clone the source code. And what it does is that this plugin reads this information and then automatically apply DevWorkspace object, the YAML that we've seen before, and it's so the cloud development environment is started, and in this case, actually, it started in the same pod where the application is running. So, the difference with before is that instead of having the IDE standalone in a pod, in its own pod, you'll actually start the application. You will do a copy of the pod, and you will add the cloud development environment in it. To do that, so I will do this. I will do with those steps. So let me do a short demo about that as well. So the first thing is that I need to start the pod, so the one that we started before. And then I will do a kdebug IDE, specifying the name of the pod out yet, and then I will provide those parameters. Yeah, let's do that. Let me delete the order. Yeah, out yet. The development environment that we had before. So now I should not have any pod. Okay, it's terminating. Then I do a apply of out yet YAML. So I redeploy the application. And I will just execute this now. So before that, so just to clarify, here if I do a k plugin list, I have this one that is the debug IDE that it's a binary, it's a Go it's written in Go, and it's yeah, it's the one that will be executed when we do a kdebug IDE. And then also add the kubectl LO. So for example, if I do the KLO as before, so it executed that. So now let's instead run the kdebug IDE. All right, so what it's done is that it has generated a DevWorkspace. So it's for now it's like the output is not super clean. So but that's for now. It's kind of just a POC, and we can see that there is a new DevWorkspace that is already running. And if we look at the pods, we should have two pods. The out yet pod, and then the second pod that is the debug pod, so the copy of out yet with the cloud development environment. And there are two containers in the second pod. One container is the out yet container, and the second container is the CD. So now let's open that. I think I can close. Okay. It's like before, but actually now, if we go to there is something that, let me make it bigger so that you can see it. So the way, so since out yet the pod was exposing a port, when we have done the copy, we are also still exposing the port. So, and this is something that is visible in these endpoints here. And if I open it, I actually see this one. That it's kind of that's the copy of the original one. It's the one that is running in my debug pod. And and also I have my VS Code that is running in the second container. Now what I want to do is that I don't want to start a new version of out_yet. I want to connect to the version of out_yet that is running in the other container, in the same pod, but in the other container. And for that, I'm gonna use another profile. Is the attach process. So, and before that, so something that it's interesting is that now if I do PS, I should be able to see I see that out_yet. I can see the process here, even if it's running in the second container. I can see it here. So if I try to attach here, so I'm using this second profile, and the thing that is going to do now is that is going to so like the Go language server is starting, so it takes some time, but it will prompt me and will ask me in which process do I want to attach to. So here I will say, okay, let me select, okay, the out_yet one. And as you see, it's actually was able to attach to the so I'm able to debug now my application from here. So this is this is super cool. So I was able to start with this extension. I can start a cloud development environment inside inside the copy of my original pod. So this is a kind of an extension of the Kdebug that we have seen at the very beginning. That was my last demo, and actually also this is like these are some links of the things that we have seen. So the first link is like one of the first slide was the different things that you can do to troubleshoot a pod, and here is going into the details, etc. So it's a super cool page about using Kdebug, but also using like the K events, etc. All the commands for troubleshooting a pod. Then the second one is the DevWorkspace operator. So this is CNCF project that allows you to create cloud development environments in your Kubernetes cluster. And then the last one is the sample CLI plugin that I use as to start my my own plugin for the debug IDE. And that's about it. So thank you very much.
All right. Happy debugging, everybody. See you back after lunch in about an hour. Just listen for the gong and you know when to come back. After the lunch, we're going to have the next keynote, Yorasi, in Hall 4, and we're going to stream to Hall 6 again.